So, thank you for the opportunity to, oh, do you have to vote on that or? Was that sufficient, or do I have to wait for you to say something?
Go right ahead.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, members, I wanted to preface my remarks by saying that this is just a pilot project that I hope will turn into a larger idea that I hope to flesh out with for a cohesive strategy that we could expand in other areas of the state. As we all know, there's a great worker shortage in the state, there's a digital gap, and this lack of technological infrastructure is inhibiting economic growth and business investment in areas that are underserved by broadband. There's also a network gap, a lack of connection, as we've heard from some of the testifiers today, where people don't have the same access to human capital and networks that can support their business development, and that's true in areas that are underserved by broadband and other areas of the state as well. So my original idea was in response to Chair Mahoney's frustration that we can't seem to attract angel investors outside the metro area. And I've learned much in preparing this bill, and my thinking has honestly changed as I've had conversations with people like Betsy and Representative Baker. So my hope is that this project will be a catalyst for future growth in addressing both the digital and network gap around the state. The basic idea is that we can create a high-tech co-working space in a community that will be a place from which entrepreneurs and others can work much more productively than they could out of their home office, and that they would have access to technology tools that they would have if they lived in an area like the Twin Cities. If we wait for the federal broadband to reach all of the homes in Greater Minnesota, we will lose 10 years in terms of economic development in Greater Minnesota at least. So this would create a hub in communities where the technology exists for people to go work and create jobs, and also bring jobs to Minnesota by getting them employment, as we will hear from the testifier, from all around the nation. They can find these jobs and work from anywhere. So it's more than telecommuting. It's about the technology hub in a community, and it's about the collaboration that happens as these high-skilled, high-tech professionals come into these communities. Then they help each other, as she will testify to in a moment. So I'd like to introduce my testifier. Her name is Betsy Bonema. She is the head and founder of a very innovative group in Wilmer called Work Up, and we're delighted to have you.
Good morning. Please identify yourself for the tape and proceed.
My name is Betsy Bonema. I'm the founder and owner of WorkUp, which is a co-working meeting space in Wilmer, Minnesota on the Midwest Technology Campus. And I'm here today to really bring some visibility to the co-working culture and how it can serve outstate Minnesota. Our community is not a large metro area, but we found that co-working has been a real asset to our community. When WorkUp is about 4 years old as of May 1st, and before we even opened our doors, we took the concept to our community and got support from the Economic Development Commission and the community college and some local businesses, because they really saw the vision of what we were trying to do, and that is to become a hub, a resource, a community that supports entrepreneurial thinking and activities and programming. And that was our commitment to those founding members, and that's what we're continuing to do today. I would say that through our programming and through our memberships, we've probably touched and been pretty involved with 60 different companies within our region. People come to our programming from probably at least 60 miles away, so we draw people to Wilmer. And I wanted to tell you a couple stories about our members and how they've actually been impacted by WorkUp, and I'll just give you a few cases. So one case would be, his name is Kyle Bjorkman. Before we even opened our doors, so it would have been 5 years ago or so, he came and toured the facility before it was remodeled. And by the way, we're in a 120-year-old building on the Midwest Technology Campus, which looks beautiful now, but at the time was a little rough. But his wife was looking to take a position at the hospital in our medical community, in a pretty high-level position, and he was a lead engineer at Polaris. And so he was considering leaving Polaris to start his own company, and he was considering moving to our area if he had the resources to start that company in the area, so his wife could take this job and there was something for both of them. So he came to work his first few days at workup. When we opened our doors, he didn't even have a business plan. So he was writing a business plan, and 4 years later, he now is in his third manufacturing facility and probably has about 6 employees right now, and has launched a very successful product line in the recreational vehicle market. So he's one story. We're really proud of him. We also have a couple that came to our community because, again, the wife was hired as a pathologist in our medical community at the hospital. So it's a very high level position. He works for Zipnosis, which is a startup in Minneapolis in their, I think, second or third round of funding. He was the third employee in a pretty significant startup right now. So he's got a lot of history and equity with the company, but he wanted to move to Wilmer. So he did with his wife, and now he works out of work up a couple days a week, comes into the cities once or twice every couple weeks as well, and maintains his position with Zipnosis as the lead software developer, lead software engineer. And you know, they're in their early 30s. They wanted to be in outstate Minnesota and start their family, but they were career people. And so we were able to provide that spouse opportunity that our community needed to bring the medical expertise that we needed as well. I have 2 more examples. Another one would be, her name is Jill. She's a safety engineer who works for a company right now out of Washington, used to be out of Seattle. She creates a lot of online content around safety for corporations, and so often she's in our space using our technology. So we have meeting rooms that have meeting technology, flat screen TVs, kind of the camera systems. No one really knows where she is, but she's in Walmart. So her company actually pays our membership so that she can have an office there and have those resources. It allows companies who aren't in our community to provide for their employees a very professional setting with all the amenities that they have if they were in their office, whatever that may be. The last example is, his name is Carl. He was the lead engineer at one of the manufacturing companies in our community. And he left his job a couple years into Workup's history and now has his own company. And he's been through our programming and is very connected to our space. And he is now leading the region in 3D printing technology. So he's kind of making headlines in our community as far as bringing that kind of technology and expertise to our area right in Spicer. So he's been a huge asset and a real great success story for our community.
Thank you.
And I also have Representative Baker with me today.
Welcome to your old committee. Some form or another again now.
Thank you, good morning, members, and I just wanted to say how much I
Could you
appreciate.
identify yourself?
I'm sorry. I should know that, Mr. Chair, Representative Dave Baker. From the great area of Candiway County in Wilmer, Spicer, New London. And as Betsy has mentioned, she's not only a good friend, but also we have worked on many projects together. This space is something like we've never seen in rural Minnesota before, but when it first opened a few years back, it was real cutting edge for rural Minnesota. We've had a lot of meetings there. I have seen people, they've got these workspaces all over and they're in and out of there 24/7. The coffee pot's always on. It is such a collaborative space. In fact, I recently led a playground concept in Wilmer. It's a destination playground, and we actually put a book together because we raised $1 million in private funding, no tax dollars, and we built this amazing all-inclusive playground for our kids. And we had all the diversity in Wilmer in that room. We had Somalis, we had Hispanics, we had everybody that was part of this team was in that space, and we're able to see this for the first time. But that was our hub. That was where we did all of our work, and until we actually were building the playground together. So this is an amazing space. There's pictures of it, and if you want to see the book of Workup as well. I just want to thank Representative Robbins for this, because we need more of these in smaller communities in rural Minnesota, so that when spouses or significant others want to go to these areas, there's actually a working place that they can feel really proud to go to. And this space would be a perfect model to use after this. So I just want to thank, and I'm proud to be a co-author as well as you, Mr. Chair, on this bill. So thank you very much for letting me speak to this.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Any questions? I have a whole slew of them, so stay. This is a $50,000 grant There's no specific as to the number of grants that can be made. But my question is, what was the cost, and this is to Betsy? I didn't quite catch the last name, Porter? Bonham. What was the startup cost to your particular workspace?
Thank you for the question. It's interesting that it's for $50,000 because I actually borrowed within the first year $50,000. I used that money for things like desks and furniture and flat screen TVs and some of the infrastructure of our space. Of course, there was more involved in terms of cash flow and that sort of thing. I had good support from my bank. And I also have really good support from the owners of the property. So I'm on the Midwest Technology campus, and so I was able to negotiate a remodel cost into my lease, which allowed me to have less upfront costs so that I could get started and have a runway, and that really helped me too. So it has a lot to do with what kind of space and what kind of collaboration you can get to get into the space, I would say.
Did I understand you correctly? You have 60 different companies that you connect with through your workspace?
Right now I have, I'll give you the actual numbers, probably 35 individual members, meaning those could be remote workers, freelancers, consultants. We have 7 regular corporate members that use our space, but we have a startup program that is based on programming. It's a special boot camp around some marketing, and we keep in regular contact with that community and have future programming for them. And we've put, after next month, it'll be 50 companies through that program. And those companies remain in our network and in our community and often attend events or become speakers. So there's kind of 2 aspects. There's the people who need the space, and then there's the people who need the community. And then there's a lot of people who need both.
What is the bandwidth that you provide at this space?
In terms of internet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, 100 meg is what we're offering, and that's been adequate. We have access to more, especially because there's infrastructure within the campus to tap into their internet, and so far we've been able to really provide what was needed for our members. Haven't had any problems with that.
So you have the opportunity to up the service.
Yeah.
Because I suspect in the near future, 100 meg will be like dial-up used to be.
Yes, right. And we're getting there, and we've started looking at it. We'll be ready when it's time to turn the switch on for that, and it's just a matter of managing costs. So right now, it's adequate for us, but we're realizing that that's why we're here, so we need to be ready to increase that.
All right, are there any other questions? I will tell you that I'm glad you picked up on an idea that I freewheel through committee. It's always good to be creative and ready to move on something. I like this idea. I'm going to try my hardest to try to figure out if we can figure out some general funds once I stop crying on Friday. So I will, I'll let you renew your motion for possible inclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your support and encouragement to bring this bill forward. I really do appreciate that. So, Mr. Chair, members, I move that House File 2419 be laid over for inclusion in the possible inclusion in the omnibus bill. Thank you.
The only thing I would have liked to have is have you bring it to the House floor so you could, stand for the freshman hazing on a bill that you can't really be too mad at. Although I will be talking with the broadband guy a little later. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Do we have anything else before the committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned.